would like to give a warm welcome to Christina Ivanhoe. Thank you so much for volunteering your time and providing essential resources to the community. Today, you're going to share a personal story about losing your mother to drugs and alcohol, and we really appreciate you sharing that with our viewers. First of all, I'm really sorry for the loss of your mom, of course. Now, tell us a little bit about your story. How do you think your loss transformed you?
Okay, so I'm going to try not to cry. But you know, I think it transformed me most, and then I can go into the story, but you know, it transformed me most because now I'm, 10 years fast forward and I'm sitting here telling you a story because God knew what he was doing when I was going through that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think that it's really, and with my clients, that's all I do is I think that they don't, so many people are so removed from their childhoods or why they behave the way they behave, and why they have gut issues or why do they have autoimmune. And I go straight to what were your parents like? Mm-hmm. And what was your home life like? And they're like, what? I'm an adult, mm-hmm. But it's really true because we are products of our childhood.
Absolutely.
So I really think that has instilled in me like to go straight there, because I think that most people in the wellness business don't go there right away because it's uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And it is uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And I can't explain it. I just know that that's what God's mission is for me. Mm-hmm. Is for me to go there because that's where the true healing is. And I was able, I'm able to help a lot of our clients just connect, with what's going on in their childhood and why they're, going through stuff now, which has been it's pretty cool.
It is very cool.
After the shock, mm-hmm. They're like, what? So yeah, so mm-hmm. That's what I think really is what has transformed me from then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And with a self-harm loss, there's a lot of complexity with it. There is, loss survivors feel guilt, shame. They might feel like, it's their fault. And so how did you work through that?
So I would say it isn't, it's not like a fast track of like, okay, this is done. It's really, I raised myself as a kid. My mom, my dad left when I was 4, and my mom was, she hit the bottle, but I think learning why my mom did what she did, mm-hmm. Is really what helped me really start to go, okay, this isn't personal. Because, my mom, her mom told her she wished she would have flushed her down the toilet. Like, who says that to a child? So I was able to finally have empathy for my mother, mm-hmm. and the mental illness of it, mm-hmm. And there's so many studies that show that as children, if we're not supported or we're not understood or we don't feel valid and our parents aren't there, you grow to learn that you don't matter, mm-hmm. and that you're ashamed. Yes. So, that part has been a lifelong thing. So that's not like, it's still here today. Right. I mean, cause it's inside of you, but you learn tools, mm-hmm. to not do that, because it's really, but it takes time. I'm not saying that any of this is easy. I'm just saying that trying to heal from it is a way better life than what it was that I was carrying. I mean, I was so nasty. Like I remember telling like a trainer to shut up. Like who is that? You know what I mean? Like you behave like, or at least I behaved like, you don't know my story. You don't know what I've been through. Right. But at the end of the day, we all have stories.
We do. And when we, feel comfortable and vulnerable in sharing and form those community connections, not everyone's stories are like, no two stories the same, but when we share, there's something about, finding commonality and bonding with others over the things that we've been through that is really special. And so I'm really appreciative that you're here right now doing this.
Yeah, of course.
And sharing that with us.
Yeah. No, I think, community is a big thing.
Absolutely.
And this isn't personal. I know it feels so personal. It feels so personal because it's happened to you. Mm-hmm. But if you can get somebody to be around you or lean on somebody. Don't be proud and don't let your ego get in the way and say, I don't need anybody, or be ashamed to ask for somebody for help, because everybody's going through something and you need somebody. I literally work out every day to shut the people upstairs off so they stop talking. Like, it's not even a joke, because our brains can like really
drive you crazy.
Oh, well,
right?
and the self-talk, right? Like,
Yes.
so you've been told that you don't matter. I learned how to drive when I was 11, right? So, I go to bed praying that I woke up the next morning because my mom wasn't coming home in 3rd grade. And so you learn that you're not worthy,
Right.
or that you feel that because you are worthy.
Mhm.
So that self-talk can really get in there if you don't, reach out to friends, reach out to Eric's house, reach out to, your therapist. And you really can heal. Like, you really can. It's not easy, but it's worth it, because it's not, nothing feels better than how you are or were feeling. Once I was able to finally put those dots together and then start to help, people, I finally was like, okay, like God knew what he was doing when I was a little girl, because honestly, I can relate that, you go through and you're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening? Why did this happen to me? Why do they have a family? Or why do they have normal parents that don't drink? Or why do they have somebody that didn't take their life? Why is that? But in all reality, something else is going on.
Yeah.
We all have, it doesn't change, and I'm not discounting that but we all have stuff, and everybody is willing to have a listening ear. We just have to get out of our own way and try and ask for help.
Absolutely. And find, those people that you can trust, and even just sitting with somebody else. You don't really have to say anything, you can just sit and be with them. And for people who have experienced trauma, there might be a tendency to want to isolate, and that's okay to a certain extent, but you've got to push through that. And even like I said, just sit with someone and help heal from the inside out, and really just try and get your basic needs covered. Eating well as much as you can, showering if you can, getting outside. Those are all things we talk about all the time, because you got to get back to basics.
For sure. For sure. I think that, one of the things that I teach our clients, I did this bio-emotional healing course, and it was amazing because it's scientifically of why your brain is fired to, or wired to fire, sorry. And so it's meant to protect you. And so from the first time you've had trauma, your brain scientifically automatically wants to put you there. So one of the things I learned, and it's so effective and it's kind of magical, so it's kind of fun, you can play with it, but it's first thing in the morning, you get up and you say the things that you want, instead of going, as moms, the to-do list is ridiculous, but it puts you right in fight or flight, because you're like, oh, it's nonstop. So if you can say like at least 5 things that you want, even if that's a purple unicorn, whatever, your brain doesn't know the difference. So your brain actually thinks that it's actually happening, and it'll seem weird, and you'll be like, okay, I don't know. Obviously the purple unicorn is not going to show up, but you could say like, I want to have a good day. I want to feel good. I'm going to have, people that support me today. By saying those things, they'll become more fluid, and it really will change the brain chemistry if you can stick to it every day. Even just, if you don't feel like it, just say one thing, just try one, just start with baby steps. I'm not asking you to do a bunch, but it really does work, and it's kind of magical. And I would be interested to see how it works for people, because it's really kind of a cool little hack that I've been able to share with our clients and my mom, friends too, for sure, and myself. So
that's wonderful. Affirmations are something that I truly believe in. Wake up and affirm those things that you want to see happen in the day, and it can help just physiologically calm down your body. When your heart's racing, or you're feeling like I have so much to do, just kind of taking that moment and saying what you want and visualize what you want to happen through that day. I think it's magical, like you said.
Yeah, I think it's, and I think life's short, and we sorry, I got through most of it. But we take the moments, because it's not just us, right? We have kids, we have, husbands and wives, and, we have to be there for them too. And sometimes just being with them can actually, help. And the nutrition piece is really a big deal. At least, and we'll go over that in the segment, but it's sleep. A community is probably, honestly, actually, I feel like the number one. And there's so many now, there's Zoom, there's all kinds of things that you can, there's so many videos, there's so many things that you could just go on and, even if you just typed in inspirational,
right,
you'll be able to find something. And for me, it's a daily deal. Like, I mean, I brought a couple of books, but I read a daily affirmation in the morning. And do I want to do all this? No, I don't all the time.
Yeah.
I don't, but I know for me, I'm a better person if I do. And the rest of the world is better for it because I'm not on them.
Yeah.
But it's really, and then, I have a daily calm that I listen to in the morning that my daughter and I listen to on the way to school. And, just somehow fill your thoughts. And I promise you it'll start to shift.
Yeah. Well, I think that is awesome. And, your story is so inspirational because you have turned your pain into power and you're now helping other people. And you have you're looking at it differently now. And like you said, you kind of figured out why. And so that is really inspirational.
Yeah,
you're working with people every single day who have trauma showing up as maybe an autoimmune disorder or something in their body, and you're getting down to the cause of where that might be coming from.
Right. And it's actually gets a little bit more simpler, but you just reminded me of the whole story of why we actually had me talk about this. So, because this is not easy, right? I practice it and I, end up thinking it's easier than it was, but I'm doing it because I care. And so the story that I shared when we were all talking on the phone. So my mom, when she was in her apartment, I got a call, and they asked me if I was her daughter, and they said, well, we found your mom. They didn't recognize her. She'd been there for like a week, but there were flies coming out of her apartment, and that's how they knew. So I know this seems weird. My family thinks it's weird sometimes, but I think they're used to it now. So if there's a fly that comes around, I'm like, oh, it's just my mom, because I just want to think of my mom as somebody that was hurting too. And I would never, nobody wants to be a bad mom, right? So nobody wants to be bad at anything. We just have mental, and it's scientifically, there's mental stuff that takes over, unfortunately.
Right.
And so, I think of my mom I'm like, oh, hi, Mom. I mean, I also monarch butterfly is, a symbol of her, but when the fly show, I mean, my husband looks at me like, oh my gosh, you're so weird.
It's a linking object that works for you. It reminds you of your mom, and it's a way that you can kind of honor her in a little silly way that's unique to you.
Right.
You kind of, once you can get to that point in your individual journey through your grief, you can kind of look at things and I'm not saying make light of it, but make something silly that works for you.
Positive,
because positive.
You want to reframe it, right?
Yes.
So that I'm not saying, again, I'm not discounting, this is hard. And years and patience and not taking it personally, because they don't want to hurt you. Nobody would ever want to hurt anyone. And it's not personal, even though it feels so personal. But learning about my mom's mental illness and then going down the line of thinking about how it really affected her, it made my heart hurt so bad for her, even though she was so nasty to me. But it made my heart hurt for her because she was really struggling inside. And, I wouldn't want to live like that, and I'm grateful that, I had God, that was really, and that's just for me, like whatever it is for anybody else, whatever it is that gives you your positive, even if it's just a friend or whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Christina. It's so brave of you to share with us. And we're just really thankful. I'm really thankful.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you to all of our listeners as well. Take care, everybody.